Hello everyone, thank you for joining me again today. The next project is to replace the power steering fluid of the XK8. This is the reservoir where the power steering fluid resides. Now, this will probably end up being a very long video, so I will break it up into two parts. In the first part, we're going to talk about which fluid to use, or more importantly, what kind of information you want to look for when you're making a determination what's the right fluid for your vehicle. In the second part, we'll actually go ahead with the process and do the change itself. So the second part will be a little bit more exciting, more hands-on. There will be some more action happening in a way. In the first part, it will be a bit more theoretical and dry, but still the information will be very, very important and something that you want to be aware of before going ahead with this project as a whole. Now, when we start talking about which product to use or what kind of fluid is the right fluid, that always has to be taken into the context of which method of replacing the fluid are you going to follow. And very briefly, I'll go into the methods more in detail in the second video, but for the purpose of this video, very briefly, there are, generally speaking, two main methods that you can use. The first method involves a clean cut separation between old fluid and new fluid, where old fluid gets taken out of the system, new fluid gets put in, and we're done. The second method is such that it involves old fluid and new fluid coexisting, mixing together in the system for a short period of time before the full change takes place. So those two distinctions are important to keep in mind when we start talking about which product to use, because they have bearing on your decision of what to choose for this job. All right, having covered this, let's go inside and we'll go into some more interesting details and facts that you want to be aware of before you go further. Let's examine the fluid requirements as specified by the Jaguar workshop manual. Now, the power assisted steering fluid needs to conform to the Dextron 3 specification. In addition, the power assisted steering system contains 1 liter of fluid, and the reservoir contains an additional 400 milliliters. So the total capacity of the system is 1.4 liters, and given that most of the power steering fluid is sold in 1 liter bottles, what this means is that you would need to purchase at least 2 bottles for a total of 2 liters to do this change at a minimum. So just keep that in mind as we go further and examine each product, each fluid by itself. Now, Dextron 3 is a very old specification. It dates back to 1993 when the original Dextron 3F came out. It was revised several times over the years. In 1998, we had the Dextron 3G come to market. In 2003, we had Dextron 3H. Now, those are all Dextron 3 fluids, just improved gradually over the years. And then in 2005, we had Dextron 6 come to market. Dextron 6 was a much higher spec in a sense that the bar was set much higher for the fluid in terms of its qualities and capabilities. So for a fluid to meet the Dextron 6 specification, it had to be much more capable and much more enduring fluid. Why am I bringing up Dextron 6? Well, because Dextron 3 is so old, it is now getting hard to find products or fluids that are specifically Dextron 3 rated. Here in Canada, there are a few options, but let's just say the options are limited and they come from brands or manufacturers which, for me personally, don't inspire the highest level of confidence. So if I cannot use or if I cannot find a Dextron 3 fluid that I'm comfortable with, what else could I use? Well, Dextron 6 is a newer fluid, it is a better fluid, and it is backwards compatible, which means any system that originally required a Dextron 3 fluid can be filled with Dextron 6 and everything is fine. The two fluids can also be mixed, 3 and 6 could be mixed together. If you have 3 in the system, you can top up with 6. You can do a 50-50 mix. They work together without a problem. So since Dextron 6 is a much newer specification and more current specification, there are many more options available on the market when it comes to fluids that meet Dextron 6 requirements. So all the fluids that I'm going to go through now are fully synthetic fluids, and they are rated for Dextron 6 specification, which basically gives us peace of mind that they're essentially over-spec'd relative to the initial intention and design of the XK8 power steering system. The first product we're going to talk about is the Pentosyn CHF11S. Now this is a very high quality product, very high quality fluid. It's a pricey fluid as well. You see that 1 liter costs about $42. That's Canadian, at least on Amazon. If you go to other retailers, prices may vary, but these are the prices today here on Amazon. A liter, $42. Now, this fluid is not new to the Jag. It is also used in our hydraulic systems for the convertible roof. This is the revised fluid. So the early model years had a different fluid in, and that fluid was causing problems. Jaguar revised the fluid. I'm not exactly sure which model year that change happened, but later model years have this exact fluid operating their convertible tops. I know that my 2001 year vehicle also has the 11S for the hydraulic system of the convertible top. Now, this endorsement of Pentosyn 11S is not just mine. If you do a quick research online, you would see that everybody speaks extremely highly of this fluid. And especially if you have read, or if you have as a reference the XK8 Bible by Gary Van Remordo, you would see that in the Bible, Gary recommends this exact fluid, and this is what he is running in his vehicle, which is in itself a very high endorsement for the Pentosyn CHF11S. Now, one thing I would say here is that if I were to follow the first method of changing the fluid, which was the method where the existing old fluid is fully drained out and the new fluid is placed in, I would be buying this product, and this is what I would be pouring into the system. However, when I proceed to do the job, I will be using the second method of changing the fluid, where existing fluid and new fluid mix together for a short period of time, and they sort of operate in the system as a mix. In that scenario, this fluid is not suitable, maybe I should say. It's not suitable, it's not recommended. At least I wouldn't do it, and here's why. You can just look at the back label of the container and read through the third paragraph here. It says that CHF11S meets the specifications of national and international automotive manufacturers. Please see manufacturer's manual. And then here's the important sentence. Pentosyn CHF11S is compatible with Pentosyn CHF202, but do not mix, and not is in capital letters. There's a big stress on that word. Do not mix with Pentosyn CHF 7.1 or any other hydraulic oils. So this is a very strong warning and a very clear message as well. If you are to use this in your system, it pretty much has to be by itself without any mixing with other fluids which may have been there before. And since I am going to follow the second method of changing the fluid, where I know that I will have a mixture of old and new, I would not be using the CHF11S. If you're doing your fluid change differently, this would be a very high recommendation to go ahead with. You would need 2 liters. So cost-wise, you're looking at about, let's say $84, $85 roughly. Let's take a look at the Liquimoly family of products. Liquimoly is a German brand. Their products are made in Germany. And when it comes to automatic transmission fluids, they have 3 different sort of models, an 1100, a 1200, and 1800. I have used the 1800 one in other vehicles. I'm very happy with it. No concerns whatsoever. I can say this is a very good product. We will go in deeper detail about the Liquimoly products as well as the other ones that I'll go through now. So Liquimoly is a little bit more of a European angle on things. In terms of North American angle, this is Valvoline. Now the Valvoline Max Life is very highly reviewed. You can literally see hundreds of YouTube videos of people praising this product, using it successfully in all kinds of vehicles, Asian vehicles, North American vehicles, European vehicles. People absolutely love this product. So this is another option. Again, we will go in detail about each of these, and this is where really the nuances start making a difference, and you want to see why it's important to read the fine print. And the other product from Valvoline is Dextron 6 automatic transmission fluid. This is another option. So we'll jump into further detail. Before we do that, I just want to put things in perspective. Like we spoke, 2 liters of 11S will cost you about $84. To compare that, for that amount of money, or rather for about $72, you can buy 3 liters of Liquimoly, not 2, but 3 liters of Liquimoly. And for the same amount of about $70, you can buy 6 liters of this Valvoline. And again, for about $78, you can buy 6 liters of this Valvoline. So this just puts things in perspective in terms of cost, if cost is a factor for you. And in this project, especially if you're following method number 2 for changing the fluid, cost may become a factor, because with method number 2, you will end up using more fresh fluid to do the whole cycle and the whole change. 2 liters will not be enough. You would end up using much more than that. So cost-wise, it could make a difference. All right, let's jump into the nice fine print details where really we can separate what's the term? The contenders from the pretenders. All right, a few more details on the Liquimoly family of products. This is the 1100. You can see the approvals. It is approved for Dextron 3G, Dextron 3H, which is really what you care about. H is the latest iteration of Dextron 3. That's the one that came out in 2003. So this is, in a way, a pure Dextron 3 spec'd product that you can go ahead with the 1100. There would be no problems. The 1200, you can see a similar approval here. They only mentioned Dextron 3H, but we know that Dextron is backwards compatible. So anything that's approved for Dextron 3H will work for Dextron 3G and the original Dextron 3F. So again, you need Dextron 3, this will do the job. It is formally approved, you're good. And with 1800 product, which is what I showed earlier, this is approved for Dextron 6 and the Ford Mercon LV, which LV, this stands for Roman numerals, it's 55, Ford Mercon 55. So the 1800 is approved for Dextron 6. So if you have other newer vehicles at home, that may require Dextron 6, this is a good option because you know that you can use it for your Jag and you can use it for other vehicles as well. If I was to use liquid moly for the Jag, I would lean towards the 1800. It doesn't say Dextron 3 explicitly, but because Dextron is backwards compatible, a Dextron 6 spec will work for any system that requires Dextron 3. All right, so this was it for liquid moly. The things get more interesting once we go in the Valvoline world. Valvoline Max Life. We're at the Valvoline site here. This is the Max Life product page, and at the bottom you can see that there is the product information sheet, which I strongly advise you folks to read through. Any product that you're considering buying, read through the product information sheet. It's extremely important, and here as well, try to illustrate why that is such a key moment. This is the product information sheet for Max Life. Now, tons of information here, and actually if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you will notice that for ZF, the ZF 5HP24, which is our transmission, the 5-speed XK8 transmission for the earlier models, is actually listed here as a suitable transmission for this fluid. Or rather, the fluid is suitable for this transmission. If you scroll up a bit, for Jaguar, again, same thing. Jaguars with ZF 5HP24 can use this fluid. And I would suspect the same thing holds true for the power steering application as well. Now, let's read the text. So, in the first paragraph, we see it's fully synthetic, advanced additives, prevents breakdown, extends transmission life, prevents leaks, maximizes performance. Like, all of these things sound like a lot of marketing lingo and catch terms and feel-good words that are thrown in there, but they don't, if you look beyond that, they don't really give much substance. And here's where the red flags should start coming up. When you see things like, this fluid is suitable for use, or this fluid is recommended for use, those kind of terms are very vague, and they should raise red flags when you see this kind of lingo for a particular product. And if we go to the second paragraph, you can clearly see why that is the case. Now, Valvoline themselves have conducted extensive testing. They have run trials, and they've established a given performance. However, it should be noted that Max Life multi-vehicle transmission fluid is not an OEM licensed product. The respective vehicle manufacturers have neither evaluated nor endorsed Max Life transmission fluid in these applications. So the table that we looked at the bottom of this document, where it shows all of the brands and all of the different products and transmissions and so on, none of those have been officially endorsed, or rather those manufacturers have not endorsed this fluid to be used in their products. So all of these assertions here, they are essentially recommendations by Valvoline that the product is suitable and the product can be used. But when it comes to the manufacturer has not really endorsed the product. So to you, or at least to me, this should be a bit of a concern, and basically should tell you, I need to look elsewhere, or I need to find something better. And thankfully, Valvoline themselves tell us what that something else is. Right here in the last sentence, if an OEM licensed product is preferred, well, of course it is preferred. We recommend Valvoline Dextron 6 and a few others for the corresponding applications. So what is the Valvoline Dextron 6? Well, the Valvoline Dextron 6 is this blue bottle that we looked at earlier. There it is, the Dextron 6. And why is this a better product? Let's read its product information. Here it is, product information for the Valvoline Dextron 6. Now, you can see that this is just a one-pager. There isn't much here. It's not as rich in wording and tables and claims and so on. This is very simple, but really all you need to know here is this one sentence. It is officially licensed and General Motors approved for the GM Dextron 6 specification. This is the key sentence. Basically, this product is guaranteed to meet the exact spec that GM intended with the Dextron 6, and thus it is absolutely perfect for any Dextron 3 system requirement. So if I had to choose between the two Valvolines, being the blue bottle, the Dextron 6, or the red bottle, the Max Life, I would go for the blue bottle because it is explicitly vetted, confirmed, endorsed by GM as a Dextron 6 spec product. Now, the price difference, as we saw earlier, is negligible. The blue bottle is 78 bucks and the red bottle is 70. The difference is not that much, and this is for a case of 6, right? Not per liter, case of 6. So if I were to go with a Valvoline product, it would most likely be the blue one. So now the question is, blue Valvoline, 6 liters of it, or the ATF 1800, where for that money I can basically buy 3 liters of the 1800. I haven't decided yet. If you have any thoughts on this or other recommendations, let me know. Let me take you to the actual physical products very briefly. I have them here on the floor next to me. Here are the products that we spoke about. I have them at home. Red Valvoline. This is the Max Life. You can see here, just as we read, recommended for use in GM Dextron 2, Dextron 3, and Dextron 6. But again, it is recommended. So this is a recommendation coming from Valvoline. Now, it doesn't mean that it's wrong or that it won't work, but it is not officially endorsed by the manufacturer, as opposed to this product, the Dextron 6 product, which officially licensed and GM approved Dextron 6 fluid, right? So this is 100% guaranteed Dextron 6 equivalent, which to me personally gives me peace of mind. Here's the Liquimoly product. This is almost empty. Like I said, I've used it for my other vehicles. Wonderful product, very happy with it. Like I said, made in Germany. Let me show you something very cool about it. Actually, the bottle is made in a way that when you open the cap and you pull up, it pulls out a straw. And at some point you keep pulling. Now the cap disconnects from the straw, but the straw attaches to the bottle. And at this point you can go ahead and pour. You can more easily pour into the reservoir, the power steering reservoir, or into your transmission if you're using this for a transmission job. So very cool sort of application method, makes it easy, you don't need funnels. Yeah, so this is the Liquimoly 1800. And what can I say? I hope that this video was able to give you a bit of an intro to what kind of things you need to look out for and how to read that marketing lingo so that you know the product that you're getting is actually what you want and really satisfies the expectations of the system. If you can, I would really appreciate it if you drop a comment and let me know which you would choose in this case, or if you have any other recommendations that I should look into. I will probably start the job in about a week or two from now. I'm not doing this right away, so I have a bit more time to potentially source other fluids if there's any better recommendations out there. So thank you very much, folks. I hope this was useful. Best of luck in your projects, and I'm looking forward to see you again in the next video. Take care.